November 1st, 2020, I embarked on my first long distance hike. For a few years I'd been thinking about tackling the Pacific Crest Trail. With all the craziness of COVID and New Zealand's borders being closed, I felt it was a good time to stay at home and walk Te Araroa, which stretches approximately 3,000 kilometres from Cape Reinga in the north to Bluff in the south. It was a time of my life where I felt I needed to get out of my comfort zone and do something a little bit more extreme than my daily normal. I'd always enjoyed hiking and being out in nature, so I figured if others can do it, so can I. While preparing, I did all the normal research and was shocked to find the money others were spending on the gear. So I set about finding the gear that met 3 criteria. Firstly, it had to be light or even ultralight if possible. Secondly, it had to be rugged and reliable. And thirdly, it had to be good value for money. Before I knew it, I was fully equipped and for way less than what others were spending just on their backpack. The next hurdle was to get time off. This also surprised me because my employer was super supportive of me taking off 5 months. So before I knew it, my flights were booked and I was ready to get started. I'd never planned on filming a video blog for YouTube, so a lot of the series will be photos I captured along with music and a voiceover. Family members have been enjoying what I've put together of my more recent hike of the Continental Divide Trail, so this is mostly for them. On day 1 I arrived at the first campsite and was delighted to meet other hikers who were attempting their first 3 hikes. It was nice to see others getting out of their comfort zone and ready for fun and adventure. The first section from Cape Reinga to Kaitaia is 118 kilometres. Mostly you are walking along 90 Mile Beach to Apipara, and then there is a road walk into Kaitaia. With the long days, beautiful weather and hard packed sand, the going is really easy. It took me 4.5 days to get to Kaitaia, and I was in no rush as my older brother Alan was joining me there and walking with me down to Auckland. From Kaitaia you head inland and east towards the other coast. I started with a road walk towards the start of the Ratia Forest. From there you head towards Mangamuka and then on through Omahata Forest and Puketi Forest. Ratia Forest is some of the highest peaks in Northland and has a reputation for being hard going. We opted to camp just before the start of the forest as we were unsure we would be able to find any place to pitch our tents, and it was a good decision. After a good night's sleep we started our first semi-difficult section of trail. The Department of Conservation or DOC sign informed us that it would take 9 hours to do the 18 kilometres. That is some really slow going. I was certain we could do better, but the rain set in and the track got muddy, and it actually took us slightly longer than the advertised 9 hours. Through this section we saw our first feral goats and pigs. The goats were completely disinterested in us, and they mustn't get hunted for they had zero fear. Free camping, just got to give them a donation, and there's even some cabins and bits and pieces. It's pretty cool. Even got a pizza oven there. Morning guys, how epic is this? Just at the top of the Whangarei Heads. It's freaking awesome. Way down there, really high as, straight up and down, but it is beautiful. Just walking the Mangawhai cliff track. Pretty spectacular place too. Sort of the highlight of today, because the rest of it's been just a sort of lot of up and down and a little bit boring. But to end the day like this, and a bit of a beach walk ahead into Mangawhai is awesome. And down here is where I'll be walking the beach. Hopefully the sand's nice and hard. Getting to Kerikeri, we took our first showers and then rest since we had left Kaitaia. Sleeping in a real bed was a nice change. We then set out again and pushed hard, as Alan had a limited amount of time before he had to be back at work. One of the highlights for me of the northern section was walking down the east coast and enjoying the stunning views of the sea. Sometimes we were down on the beaches, and sometimes we were up above the sea in the hills, but you could often see the stunning blue water. Within a couple of weeks, Alan and I had gotten used to getting up early while it was still dark, then enjoying the spectacular sunrises before we walked all day, often till just before dark. I struggled at first, but it became easier and easier as my body got stronger. Being surrounded by the beauty of creation really helped me want to get up each morning and keep going. I was eager to see what was coming up in front of us. On a side note, if you're ever passing through Mangawhai Heads, do not, and I repeat, do not go to the fish and chip shop there. The food they sell is overpriced and horrible. Go across the road and get yourself a pizza. It won't be cheap, but be assured it'll be better than what you can get at the fish and chip shop. A highlight along our way was our stay at Pakiri Beach Holiday Park. I'm not sure if we got a discount for being TA hikers, but the cabins were so cheap we decided to get our own. After a long day, it was a nice luxury to have our own space and then to be able to enjoy a long hot shower to wash away the filth. Getting to Auckland really felt good. Sure, I still had a long way to go, but I was starting to feel like a real hiker and that Te Araroa was within my grasp. I am a stubborn man, but I'd been wondering if I had what it took to get up day after day and walk long distance. That night we went out to Moorpork barbecue with friends and celebrated. It isn't cheap, but Moorpork certainly does some of the best food in the Auckland region. The next morning Alan left to go back to work and I continued my walk through Auckland. I should have taken a rest day, but I decided that could wait for a wee while yet. While the trail set out through Auckland is interesting, I was glad that I managed to smash it out in one day. Having Alan walk with me had been really good motivation as he pushes himself every day. I just struggled to keep up, but it did set a pace that I would continue all the way to Bluff.